Moira is now facing charges for the murders of both Celia and Anya in Emmerdale. Yet the closer fans examine the case, the more confusing it becomes. She's been informed that the evidence strongly points towards her guilt, and that a prison sentence is likely. Away from the show, Natalie J Robb has already eased concerns about her future, but within the story, the timing couldn't be more brutal, especially with Kane receiving a heartbreaking cancer diagnosis this week. While Celia clearly went to extreme lengths to set Moira up, viewers are struggling to understand how the police have reached their verdict. When the details are scrutinized, the case appears riddled with inconsistencies. The passport evidence, in particular, doesn't add up. It's established that the passports were found on Moira's farm after Joe used them to blackmail Robert. Logically, the police would first check them for fingerprints and DNA. Moira's fingerprints wouldn't be on those passports, nor would any of her DNA. Instead, you'd expect forensic traces belonging to Ray and Celia, or possibly Joe and Robert. There's also the puzzling issue of the sheer number of passports. Anya seemed to be the only victim from outside the UK, making the volume of documents feel unnecessary. If the intention was to suggest Ray and Celia had done this before, that detail now feels pointless, since both are dead. So why are the police so certain Moira is to blame? Kane was arrested alongside her, but released almost straight away, which only deepens the mystery. With no forensic evidence directly linking Moira to the crimes, it's unclear what has convinced investigators of her guilt. Yes, the bodies were discovered on her land, and the passports in her house. But Moira isn't the only person who lives or works on the farm. Many villagers have access to the land, meaning almost anyone could have been responsible. The rush to place all the blame squarely on Moira feels hasty and frankly suspicious. Anya's death also raises serious questions. One of the biggest problems is the charge itself. Moira has been accused of 2 murders, yet only one death truly fits that description. Celia was killed by Ray. Anya, on the other hand, died due to an untreated infection. While Ray and Celia failed to help her, they didn't directly cause her death. If Moira were to face charges at all, it would make more sense for it to be 1 murder and possibly concealing a death. Charging her with 2 murders doesn't match what viewers actually saw, unless a proper post-mortem was never conducted. The DNA evidence surrounding Celia is equally baffling. There would be no reason for Moira's DNA to be found on Anya's body, apart from the blanket she was wrapped in. As for Celia, none of Moira's DNA was found on her at all. Ray was the one who killed her, so it's difficult to understand how Moira has been accused of that crime. The blanket explanation doesn't hold up either. Moira has maintained from the beginning that Celia was framing her, so it's hardly surprising that one of Moira's belongings was involved. Realistically, would Moira murder someone, wrap the body in her own blanket and bury it on her own land? She's married to Kane Dingle. She's not that reckless. Even if Moira's DNA was present on the blanket, Celia's should have been there too. Gloves or not, hair and fibers could easily have transferred. Then there's the original investigation to consider. Before any of this surfaced, Ray and Celia were already under police scrutiny. D.S. Carter told Marlon that officers knew what they were doing and were building a case against them. So where does that leave D.S. Walsh? Are the detectives even sharing information? Because if D.S. Carter's findings still exist, they would instantly cast serious doubt on Moira's involvement. There's no question that Natalie J Robb is putting in a compelling performance, but many viewers feel the storyline raises far more questions than it answers. Despite its intensity, fans are left wondering whether this plot could, and should, have been handled in a far more convincing way. Robert and Tracy are caught getting up to no good together in the toilets in Emmerdale. A strange twist is on the way for John Sugden in the ITV soap. Don't panic, he's definitely dead, and not about to pull a Graham Foster-style comeback. Still, just because John is gone doesn't mean payback is off the table. John met his end during a violent struggle with his sister Victoria Sugden, who fought for survival and stabbed him in the neck with one of his own needles. It was a grimly fitting end, echoing how he murdered Nate, and set this entire nightmare in motion. Victoria and Robert later learn that John's death has officially been ruled a suicide, meaning Vic won't face any charges, though emotionally she feels far from free. Even in death, John's list of sins is long. Nate's murder was only part of it. He also left his former lover in a coma after trying to kill him, shot Mackenzie Boyd with an arrow, and abandoned him in an underground bunker, and nearly killed Jacob Gallagher when Jacob tried to step in as a hero. So while karma has finally caught up with John, those he left behind still crave justice of their own. Tracy Shankly, in particular, is desperate for some form of revenge. John murdered her husband and attempted to pin the crime on her, leaving wounds that won't heal easily. When Tracy comes into possession of John's ashes, she knows exactly how she wants to deal with them, flushing them down the toilet so he can end up drifting through the sewer like the filth she believes he was. Robert is more than happy to go along with the plan and follows Tracy into the toilets to witness the symbolic disposal. Meanwhile, Victoria discovers that Robert has left the bar with Tracy and the urn. Alarmed, she heads off to track them down, bringing Moira Dingle with her for backup. She's left horrified when she finds Robert and Tracy crammed into a cubicle, ready to tip John's ashes into the toilet. Will Victoria intervene before it's too late? Emmerdale star Eden Taylor Draper has shared a personal update with fans, admitting there's so much going on in her life. "It's all been lovely," she said. The actress, known for playing Belle Dingle, revealed that she and her boyfriend of 10 years, Ed Lewis, have bought a flat together. Taylor Draper joined Emmerdale in 2005, at just 8 years old, and has been a familiar face ever since. She and Lewis met while attending Harrogate Grammar School in North Yorkshire in 2016. Posting on TikTok, she explained her absence from the app, saying she's been busy with exciting changes. "Hi, we're back. How are you all? I feel like so much has been happening, which is why I haven't been posting," she said. She shared that she and Ed moved house, went travelling, and that she's been working on various projects. Looking ahead, she plans to focus on reading and has set goals for the year. "I feel ready to get back into reading and stay on top of my reading targets," she said. Taylor Draper also spoke about turning part of their new flat into a cozy retreat. "I want to make the front room into the ultimate reading nook," she explained. "We've got a huge bookshelf and a small sofa, and I want it to feel like a little reading paradise." Fans responded enthusiastically, with one writing, "Oh, glad you're back." Another commented, "That sounds so cozy. Can't wait to see more." Meanwhile, Emmerdale's Natalie J Robb, who plays Moira Dingle, recently addressed her character's future following Moira's arrest after 2 bodies were found on her farm. "I've been lucky enough to get another contract," she said. "Usually they'd say, 'Sorry, this is your exit,' but the storyline didn't suggest that." Emmerdale airs weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.